All right, once again, listener, I thank you for your time. We are today going to look at one interesting topic. We are going to talk about collapsible div. What do we use collapsible div for? We use collapsible div to make sure that if the length of a text is too lengthy or is much, we can use collapsible div to hide the content. At the point of click that particular div, it will display the full content. At the point of clicking it again, it can hide it. That is more or less like minimize and what maximize. So this collapsible div, this is how it's going to look like in real life. By the time we are done, if I click here, you see the way it's moving. Okay, you see the way it's moving. So this is how we're going to do it. So I want you to work with me on this video. Watch to the end. Feel free to like this video. If you like this video, don't forget to comment. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So let's move to our Visual Studio and see. We have created the file here where I'm going to use everything we are going to use here is going to be purely CSS and what HTML. So we are going to see if we can design this without a JavaScript, and which we'll be able to do. So looking at that demo on how the application is going to look like. So we're going to move straight to what we are going to do today. Very quickly, I'm going to have an order list here. Then I'm going to have list item here. Inside this list item, we are going to have some few HTML property, such as input type. Okay, we are going to give the type, let's say radio button, and we're going to give it let's say name. Let's call it collapse. All right, let's call it a collapse. Let me add double L. Let's see whatever the way. Let's say ID. The ID should be what? Let's say this is the first one. Okay. After which we're going to have a label. Let's give a label to label. Let's call this one information. Let's give it a name. Let's just call it services. Okay, now we come here. Then we are going to have another div, and this div is going to have a class. I'm going to call it test content. All right, put X. All right, then I'm going to close this div. And inside this div, we are going to have a p tag, and this p tag, I've already have some text here which I copy from the lorem ipsum. I'm going to copy it, then paste it here. All right, if I save, if we run this application, this is how it's going to look like. All right, we have this radio button here. So let's go to our CSS. Remember here we have linked our CSS here. It says style sheet is style.css. So here I've given it a margin 0, padding 0, font family Lato and sans serif, box sizing, border box, and background color, we give it this color. So now we've done that. Very quickly, we're going to do some few design here. I'm going to come and call our UL. I'm going to give it a class name. Let's give it a class name collapse as well. We're going to style this name. So come here. Okay. Then come and give it let's give it width of let's say 550 pixels. Then come and give it a position, give it an absolute. Then give it top should be 10%. Then left should be, let's say 30%. Then we'll come and say refresh. If we refresh it, okay, now we have a collapse. Is that what we call it? Make sure the name is correct. Collapse. All right, okay, collapse. Yes, it is. All right, then we'll give it a width 550, position absolute, top 10%, and left 30%. All right, now if we've done that, I'm going to come here, refresh this page. Okay, now we have that. I'm going to come here. So okay, call this collapse again. We have a list item under it. We're going to give it a list style should be none. All right, then give it a width should be 100%. Then we'll come and say give it a margin. Let's give it a margin of let's say 18 pixels. All right, let's give it a border radius of let's say 10 pixels. Then we'll come and say give it a background. The background color, let's say give it a background color of let's say ash E 3, let's say ED F7, we do, then we'll come and give it what, save it. After we save, we have something like this. All right, okay. Now go back to our CSS again. Now what I want us to do is this. Now we have styled that. I'm going to come here. Let's tie this collapse. Remember, you're supposed to have what, dot, okay, and also you're supposed to what, have what, here, dot. If I save now, okay, good. Now we're going to come here. Let's say we have a li, then we also have what, label. Let's tie this. Then come and say give it a display. Display should be flex. All right, give it a padding. Padding should be, let's say 12 pixels. Let's say give it a font size. Font size should be, let's give it a font size of 16 pixels. Then we'll come here, give it a font weight. Font weight should be, let's say 500. Then we'll come here and say give it a cursor. Cursor should be what, pointer. All right, save. Okay, we have this. Okay, now what next we're going to do here, at this point I'm supposed to see this thing showing in this manner. Save. Okay, we have not saved our style sense. We haven't saved this. That's why we are having this. When we make this change, we didn't save it. Okay, so that's why it's showing that way. Now this is how it's going to look like. Now very quickly, let's continue with our CSS. Now what we're going to have here now, we are going to come and say, okay, label. Okay, let's say before they click, how should it look like? Before they click, let's have a content. Okay, a content should have something like a plus symbol to say expand it. We have a margin. Margin right should have something like let's say 24 pixels. Then we'll have a font weight. Font weight should be, let's say 600. Okay, then very quickly we'll now say font size. Font size should have, let's say 20 pixels. All right, if you save, refresh, this is how it's going to look like. Remember, we are still having this radio button here. Okay, now come back here. Let's see if we can what, maximize this, increase the font. All right, let's continue. If we leave it that way, now very quickly, let's say input with the type. The type, remember, is radio. Give it a radio. Now we're going to hide this so that when I say display should be what, none. Okay, at this point, if I refresh, you see that display button is supposed to hide. Input type display none. Input type radio. Okay, display should be what, none. Now we're going to refresh. Check our input type here. Input type is what, radio. Okay, we have this. Refresh this page. Okay, let's see why it's not working. Okay, let's see why it's not working. Label before, we have this and this, we have this. Okay, all right, we have this as well. So now if we have that, now what I want us to do is this. If we have this input type display radio none, that radio ought to what, hide its content. If it's not showing, we have issue here. Input display none, yes, supposed to be none. All right, refresh this page. Why is it not hiding this guy? Now what I'm going to do here, let's come back here. Input display none. Input type, okay, look at the spelling, we misspell it, type, supposed to be type. Okay, now it's hidden, right? So come back here. Now that we've done that, I'm going to come back here and say, okay, collapse, okay, dash test content. Remember, we have some test content. Look at it. So we're going to style it with our collapsible class called collapse. Then we're going to come here and say give it a color. color should be ash 555. Then we'll come here, give it a padding. Padding should be, let's say, 0 space 10 pixels. Then we can come as okay, give it a mask height. Mask height should be, let's say, 0 at this point. We want to hide it. Then overflow should be what? Overflow should be hidden. Okay, then we can now come here and also give it a line height. Line height should be, let's say, 25 pixels. If I save this and refresh, good, it is hidden now already. Now very quickly I'm going to add something here, but let's leave it first. Now what I want us to do here, we are going to duplicate all these ones here, starting from this LI. I'm going to duplicate it, paste it here, duplicate, paste, paste, paste. Now go back to the first one. I'm going to change this one to what? Second. Okay, all right. I'll now say label now before second as well. Then remember this one, label will not be what? Label will not be for. I'll now say for first. Then this third one, I will have a label here also for third. All right, so we're going to replace it, call this one third. Remember this one is also what? Second. Okay, and this one is okay. Come here, give it a fourth. Okay, so change it, this one to what? ID to what? Fourth. Then the last one, I want to make it up to 5. Then copy this, paste it here. I'll now say for FIV fifth. Then copy it, paste it here. Now remember I have some text here. I'm going to use this for the second one. Copy this. I'm going to come and put it for the second text, which is this. I'm going to replace it with this. All right, for the third one, go back to the text which I have copied down. I'm going to copy all of it as it is, copy it. For the third one, use it to replace it. Then for the fourth one, also copy the text just as it is from here, copy it, then come and use it to replace the what? The fourth one, this one. All right, then we have all this text in this format. If I refresh the page, we have all this. So I'm going to change the names, the label. The first one is what? The first one is services. This one is going to be what? Products. This one is going to be what? Inquiry. And this one is going to be what? Let me say, let's say questions. Let's call this one questions. Then this one is going to be what? Answers. Okay, then the last one is going to be what? Terms and conditions, like this. If I refresh, this is how it's going to look like. If I click here now, nothing is happening yet. So let's go back to our CSS. Now we're going to do some few things here very quickly. Now what I'm going to do here is to come back here. Now come as okay dot collapse, okay, slash input. Now we're going to say okay at the point of this input type, which is equals to radio. Okay, now we want to do something there, that when you come here, once it's checked, okay, add it by what? Increment it by the label, which is plus, okay, plus what? The text content, okay, which is this text content. So display it and increment it. We are using that plus here. So come here now. At this point now, say mask height now will not be, let's say set mask height to be 440 pixels. Then we can now come and say padding. Padding should be, let's say give it 10 pixels, 11 pixels, then 21 pixels. All right, save. If I come here now, refresh. If I click here, it's displaying fine, it's working. If I click here, okay, good, it's working. Click this, let's see, it's working, it's working. All right, so what I want us to do now, we have been able to do this. So if we're going to go back here, let's add some animation, let's make it look nice. And remember, at the point of clicking it, it's still showing what? This plus sign. I want it, whenever it open, it should show what? Minus sign. So to do that, we are going to go back to our CSS, come back here, I'm going to come and say collapse, all right, input, okay, which having this type, which is equals to radio. All right, now we're going to say at the point when they check it, okay, plus, all right, sorry, at the point where they check it, at the point of check, all right, plus this label, all right, we are going to say, okay, before that, come here and say, okay, set the content. The content I want us to set here is going to be what? Double quotation minus. Let it show what? Minus at the point when it is open. Now, very quickly, come to this collapse.text content. You are going to add some animation. Come against transition. You are going to say at the point of transition, mass height, height. We are going to set it to what? 0.2 seconds. All right, good. Then also after that, let's see if we can make this thing look more nice. Come here, as you click it, good, you see it has changed to what? Minus. You see it has also just changed. Good. See, it's showing. Wow, this is nice. You see the way it's changing. So we want it to be in that what format. All right, so what I want us to do here now is to come back here, okay, let's do this design and make it look nice. Let me come and say, okay, box shadow, let's give it 5 pixels. Then I will now come and say 11 pixels minus 2 pixels, RGBA. I'll come and say, okay, 0, 0.5, let's say 0.16 is not bad, okay, comma, we can come again, RGBA is not X. All right, we can now come and say, okay, copy this whole things here, okay, repeat it here. We now come and say, okay, this one will now be what? Minus. This one will be minus. Leave this one the way it is. I can now say 255, then comma 0.6. Then we can save. Let's refresh and see. So we now have this box shadow in this nature. If I click here, it's display. Okay, if I click here, it also what? Display that first one. If I click here, it hide this one. You see the way it's moving, right? Okay, see the way it's moving, right? See the way it's moving. Okay, we are now having this in this format. Okay, all right. Now if we check this what is it called, product, I think I'm noticing something here at the point of where we have product. Come to product, which is the second one. Good, we have here first, and say for this first. Okay, this is supposed to be what? Second. You're having the same name. Okay, this is supposed to replace it. This is supposed to be second. This is first. Okay, and the label is also what? For first. All right, this way. This one is for what? Second. This is what? Third. Okay, all right, so this is how it's supposed to be. Then we're going to have here, this is supposed to be what? Fourth. Fourth. Yes, replace this one to be fourth. Then lastly we have what? Fifth. Okay, 50. So we're going to replace it in this format. Save. So when we refresh this page now, this is how it's going to look like. Wow. If we click it, you see it's moving in orderly manner. Okay, all right. Okay, we click here. Good. So let's see services. We have two services. Okay, repeated. Let's see, the last one is showing services. Let's see why it's not showing properly. Okay. We have 50, so this one's supposed to be what? 60. Okay, they are up to 6. All right, so we have 6 collapsible div. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to change that name to what? Policies. Okay, save, refresh. Okay, when you click here, you see it displays the whole text and it turns this plus sign to what? Minus. If you come here, it display and hide this first one, previous one. If you come here, it hides the previous one and display the current one. If you click here, it hides the previous one and display the current one. You see the last one, the same thing. Okay, so this is how far we can go on this video tutorial. If you like this video, feel free to comment on the comment section. Feel free to share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and software and IT domain. I remain your friend Joshua.